my Ray babies out there. I'm your host, Neon Nightstorm, and welcome to episode 4 of Sincerely Rave Mom. Last week's episode was all about the second letter of plur, L for love, and how the standard of love is shown differently at raves and festivals. Along with that, we discussed the word in general and how it relates to the EDM scene, and how we can incorporate it more into our everyday lives. Along with talking about how to protect your mind, your heart, and your body, we also give some pretty good rave bay horror stories that'll definitely give you a good laugh. On top of that, if you haven't seen the first 2 episodes, please go do so. I have made all of these episodes in a specific order meant to be seen that way, in that order, to give you the full raver education that you need. The first episode centers on harm reduction and the reality of what can happen if you don't test your substances, dose correctly, and treat your body with kindness as you partake in these substances. The second episode focuses on the first letter of plur, P for peace, while also going in depth on shroom trips, rolling on Molly or MDMA, and before and after care while taking these substances, because that's just as important. I want to issue a trigger warning because we do get really in depth about some addiction issues, and for some people that can be really triggering to hear or really hard to hear in general. And my goal is never to trigger you guys, it's always to educate on harm reduction. Whenever I record these intros, I always script them, and I think you guys can kind of tell, but this is genuinely me speaking from the heart because I wanted to add this in. Everyone knows someone struggling with addiction. If you don't, then I guess you can count yourself lucky, but everyone I know knows someone struggling with addiction right now. I personally know several people struggling quite heavily with addiction. I have watched friends go down complete paths of darkness because of addiction, and I think that the only way to help people who are struggling is to talk about it. And if you yourself are watching this right now and are struggling with addiction, I want to say this to you. You are loved, you are important, and you are worthy. And there is hope. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, even if you can't see it right now. You are so worthy to be loved and worthy to be appreciated, and I just want you to know that. And while some of the topics in this episode can be triggering to those currently struggling with addiction or people with others in their lives struggling with addiction, I just know that you are so loved, and no matter what, that you have support and you are so worthy of being loved. Anyways, the next 2 episodes, though, will be about the second half of plur, unity and respect. So subscribe to this channel if you haven't already so you know when we post, and go give Sincerely Rave Mom a follow on TikTok and Instagram to completely stay updated. Without further ado, here's episode 4.
Welcome to episode 4 of Sincerely Rave Mom. Today we are going to be talking about Narcan and a little bit more about how to stay safe at festivals, and a little bit about fentanyl too. So today we have someone you probably recognize. You either know them by -C on TikTok or filthyslav on Instagram.
Hi.
So first, we're going to just ask you some basic get to know yous. At this point, this will be episode 4, so that people know that they're going to get to know yous and get to know just little things about you to kind of crack that parasocial relationship we all know is living and thriving when it comes to content creators. So first, your name and pronouns.
So my name is Dash, and I go by she, they pronouns.
All right. And how old are you?
I am 22 years old.
You know, when I read that, I was actually surprised. For some reason, I thought you were more my age and you were like 24, 25. Like, I really did.
A lot of people do.
It might be the maturity level. So, like, I've noticed that people who give off very mature vibes, especially when it comes to raves and festivals, you kind of assume they're older because rave babies are a little bit younger, and they, like, I don't know. I usually can tell people's age. So when I read that, I was like, wow, I don't know why, but I thought you were older. So what was the first event you attended? Did it change your life, or was it another show or life event that made raving become more prominent in your day-to-day life?
So my first show that I ever attended was seeing Odessa at Whammoo Theater in Seattle in 2018. And I think it was definitely like a life-changing set to watch because they're one of my favorite artists, or they are my favorite artist. So
I've definitely picked up on that from your TikTok and some of the stuff you talk about. You definitely given Odessa as your favorite artist.
Yes, I absolutely adore them. And so being able to see them and having that as my first show, that was pretty dope.
So who is your rave mom and your rave dad? Are you still close to them?
So it's hard to say because I have so many different rave moms and rave dads. Like it's just hard to name all of them.
Who took you to your first event then? So that first Odessa event, who took you to that? Are they like your rave mom, rave dad, or are they just more kind of your friend?
The people who took me to the Odessa show were my actual parents because I was
really?
Yeah, I was
like, not expecting
still in
that.
high school. Yeah, I was still in high school.
Wow. So I that is a first, like even from all the people that I've talked to in the rave scene, all of them have said like, oh, this person that has taken them, but your parents took you to your first rave. That's actually pretty cool. So do your parents rave then?
So I took my mom to a rave in, I want to say 2021. I took her to go see Trampa and Odd Prophet, whom I do think have been promptly canceled. I do think.
I'm not sure about Odd Prophet. So when this comes out, people in the comments sound off. But I do know I was about to say we don't talk about Trampa. Unfortunately, I do. I was one of the people that had like to remove a bunch of his music from my playlist because I really liked him. He was actually one of the first artists that I saw live. So I was like, when I heard that, I was like, I don't care how much I like you, that we don't, it's sexual assault allegations, by the way, for people watching that aren't aware. There are like genuine sexual assault allegations about him, and we don't stand for that around these parts.
Yeah.
So how would you describe your rave fit aesthetic or your rave style?
I would say I like anything like glittery. I like anything blue.
What's the specific shade of blue, by the way, that you wear all the time? It's like a very specific shade I've noticed. It's like a light blue. Is there like a shade name?
Yeah, it's like Tiffany blue, like Robin's egg blue.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure it was Tiffany blue, but I didn't want to misspeak. So that's a very good color on you. I feel like that is me with neon green. Like it's a beautiful color.
I love the neon green on you. You look so awesome, dude.
Dude, I feel like you should dye your hair. Like if you ever don't want to be blonde, that Tiffany blue on your hair would look so good.
I have at like one point have had like actual like blue hair.
You did? Wait, I must not have been following you yet. Because
I think if you go down far enough on my TikTok, you'll see I used to have blue hair and
I've always known he was blonde, so I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, that is definitely a good color on you. So I'm probably gonna have to stalk back a little bit just to see that, because now I want to know what that looks like. All right. So what is your favorite festival to attend?
I love Bass Canyon. It's the one closest to me.
I just love Bass Canyon in general. It's a little far from me, but I still love it.
It is gorgeous. The venue, the gorge is fucking amazing.
It's beautiful.
It is one of the most, if not one of the most gorgeous music venues in the United States. Like
honestly, I haven't been, so I've only really stayed West Coast because I'm from California. So the farthest I'm gonna travel at this point for a festival is gonna be Imagine this year in Georgia. Or no, I went to Lost Lands last year. I'm a silly goose. I literally traveled to Ohio last year. But the venue inside was cool, but like when it comes to the gorge, it's the actual view. Like it's literally a gorge. It's so pretty. And if you're on some stuff, sometimes just looking out there is trippy enough. And at camp, when you were at camp last year, did you what camping were you in? I was in Premier.
I was also in Premier.
Did you get a good view of the gorge from there? Because I was luckily in the front, and I got a really pretty extra view of the gorge. So it's like it was super cool.
Yeah, definitely. I would say we had a good view. I think. Let me see. Thank you. My boyfriend just brought me apples.
That's Nyla. You want to bring me something? Favorite rave accessories outside of events? So like going out to your job, or what do you like? Do you wear that kind of rave stuff?
So I like to wear like artist merch sometimes, like hoodies and t-shirts, sometimes long sleeves. I think I have like an Odessa bucket hat, but I have never really worn that out. But also like shit like this Excision Toast Crunch jersey. Shout out to Base Eggs for making this.
Do you wear stuff like, because I wear this kind of stuff out and about, call me whatever, but like, do you wear this kind of stuff out? Because I know you have it, because I've seen it in your like rave closet.
Yeah, I have not worn like critter clips of that sort out, or like
which is fine. It's
yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
I was like, so I don't want to make it seem like I'm coming for you in any way, because I'm not. Like, I love that I just love how any raver wears something out, like with rave culture outside. So it's for you, it's jerseys and hoodies. For me, like, I don't really have that many jerseys and hoodies. So like the way I express myself is through the fluffies. So that's so I want to get more into jerseys and hoodies though. My bank is probably telling me otherwise lately, especially with the Base Canyon payments. They've been kicking my ass, and not even gonna lie. All right. Favorite rave clothing and accessory brands.
I love me some Base Babe jewelry.
Yes, shout out to them, because I've worn them at least almost every single podcast episode. Like worn a little bit of the jewelry that they made me, because it's so cute. It's
right?
neon, it's all neon green. Like they asked me like my favorite artist and my favorite color. I don't know if that's what they did for you. And then they just like they sent me it, and I was like, oh, he was so cute. I just all neon green. It was all cute.
I actually ordered a custom from them like a few days ago, and it just got here, and it is a beautiful pair of white Odessa earrings. So the Odessa
I think I saw you post those. The clouds. Yes. Yeah.
And then the clouds, she included those like for free though. Like I just ordered the earrings, and then she also she threw in a matching necklace to go with the earrings, and then she also sent in those cloud ones.
She really be doing stuff like that. I'm definitely gonna order a custom from them, because I'm doing a Kotsky outfit for Base Canyon, and I definitely am gonna get something custom with that. All right, so your flow arts, what do you like to do for flows?
So occasionally, I wouldn't say I do it regularly, or I'm like a regular flow arts person. I occasionally do Flow Star and Pixel Whip.
So I want to try whipping, but it's hard. It's one of those that I feel like you really like. It's hard. How long have you been doing it?
I don't know. I would say it's actually one of the easier ones,
really?
But also, well, I mean, actually, I take that back. With some of the tricks that I've seen people do, they're very complicated looking, and I'm like, okay, like, but
yeah. That's how with the Flow Star. I see people doing stuff with the Flow Star, and it's crazy. I don't know if you remember, by the way, our conversation at Base Canyon last year, and all the float people using Flow Stars. And I said, oh, yeah. What is that? So funny thing. Full circle moment, right? AJ, owner of Flow Star, he messages me. He's like, hey, I saw that you don't have a Flow Star. Let me send you one. And I was like, it was such a moment of like, oh my gosh, like that. And now I know how to use a Flow Star. I can okay, well, not super well. I can't spin it for more than like 3 seconds. Like that's
all right though.
I can do some cool tricks.
Yeah, like I would just say, like, I mean, AJ told me this, like at least 5 minutes a day of practice, and like that'll get you to like a decent spot to where you know you can start experimenting with new, like, more complicated tricks and stuff.
So do you remember your first viral video? Because you've been pretty big on TikTok for a while, so I didn't know if you'd remember this, because I've asked everyone this, and usually they know. Like even I remember my first viral video.
Yeah, it's because I've had a few, and so like it's just like kind of hard to like rack my brain and figure out which one's which.
I can tell you the one that I know that like I think at least I saw it, and I don't know if I followed you from it. I'm pretty sure I did, but it was the base face one, or like the base video you made. It was maybe actually I think you kind of had blue hair in that, didn't you? I'm gonna have to. I looked a little bit. I usually like research a little bit before.
Okay. Yeah, I think. Yeah, was it me in my car?
No, you were at an event and had a bunch of lasers, and it was like when the base is this wattage or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's like the one that I have pinned. That's like my, like, I think that's like either my most viral or my second most viral.
I know I saw it when it went around originally, and I'm pretty sure I followed you from it. But it or that or was a different one that I saw. I just remember you kept coming up on my For You page, and I was like, okay, TikTok obviously wants me to like her, so I like looked at your page, and then like I followed you, and then I remembered
Period.
that my friends like found you in the pit and took a picture with you, and I was like, wait a second, and then it just kind of all clicked. So when I saw you at Sunflower Ravers meetup, that's why I said hi, because I was like, oh, now I like actually follow her, and it's just like full circle moment of us being here too.
Well, I'm glad you said hi though.
I said hi
enjoyed
to
our
a lot of people.
conversation.
I got out of that line like 5 times. And so by the time I actually got to talk to Hira and I gave her the cuff that I wanted, she was like, I just ran out of cuffs. And I was like, it's okay. It's totally fine. What are your dream events and festivals in the US?
I only have a few because I last year I attended Lost Lands and EDC Las Vegas, which were kind of like at the top of my bucket list for
Yeah.
festivals in the US. And so I'm really thankful that I got to and I had the opportunity to. So next up on my list, I feel like would be Electric Forest and then Beyond SoCal because we have Beyond
Yes.
at the Gorge for
Yeah.
Beyond Pacific Northwest. But
I want to go to just to Beyond in general. So whether it's in the it's in the SoCal, which to be fair, with where I live, SoCal is closer, but it's like I'd rather go to the one in the Gorge. Electric Forest is definitely, I feel like, a lot of ravers like dream festival because it's so big, and I feel like just the way they set up the festival is kind of a lot like Lost Lands. Not like these dinosaurs, but it's like they go so hard on the decorations.
yeah, definitely. They really work hard to make it an extremely immersive experience.
That's why I wanted to go, because it's the immersive part of it. Like Lost Lands definitely had that vibe to it. Like when you would walk around the forest areas there, like I wish I walked around a little bit more to myself because people told me about areas I didn't even see. But that's definitely one of the reasons why I want to go. So what about outside the US?
Outside of the US, I feel like, any raver that you would ask would say the same thing that I'd be saying here, which is Tomorrowland.
So that's a mixed one I've got actually. So Tomorrowland, I've gotten yes, it's their dream festival, but it scares them because of a lot of reasons. For me, EDC is literally scary just to think about because of how many people. So Tomorrowland is kind of similar. And so it like lightweight scares me of how many people will be there.
Yeah, hold on, let me look this up. I was
like, as far as I know, Tomorrowland's like the EDC of it's in Germany, I'm pretty sure, from what I remember.
No, Tomorrowland is in I think it's in Belgium.
Isn't that in Germany? Am I wrong? Wait.
Or
the next to it. Don't quote me on that.
Belgium is a country right next to Germany.
That's okay. I was about to say, I thought it was like right next to Germany. Oh,
hold on.
I'm gonna look it up here. I'm gonna look that up.
Wait, yeah, American moment here. I'm like, my brain is like short circuiting at like trying to like conjure up a map of the.
No, you're right. Belgium is a country in Europe, and then let me look up it on the map. Let me see.
Okay, so it says here the first. Okay, Billboard.com. They're saying that 75,000 people were attending per day at Tomorrowland, which I think is a little less than EDC Las Vegas, if I'm not mistaken. But let me.
Yeah, you were right, by the way. It is literally right next to Germany. I just pulled up a map. It's in between Germany and France.
Okay.
So you didn't have too much of a moment because I didn't know either. I had more of a moment than you because I actually thought Belgium was in Germany. So man, I need to go take some history again. Wait, no, probably not, because I slept most of history. So good. Thank you, my teacher, for letting me sleep as long as I passed my test.
It says that EDC Las Vegas had an average of 104,000 people attending per night.
No shit.
So
that's how many people are allowed at like EDC. That's insane. No, wait, that's insane. That can't. I'm sorry. I'm like my brain is short circuiting right now thinking about 100,000 people. How was that even like loud? Because I don't know about you, but did you hear on TikTok, like at least I've been hearing a lot on TikTok that there was a lot of like crowd issues this year.
I heard some about that, but I didn't hear like.
I've been seeing a lot of videos. So what I've seen and heard for the most part is that because bass has become a lot more prevalent in the scene, the like travel areas to get to the bass pod were too packed because they weren't preparing, I think, for as many people to go to bass pod, even though bass is definitely become more of a big thing, especially when it comes to the Raven. Like I would say Subtronics has brought a lot of people to bass. At least personally, definitely. I would think that Subtronics becoming so much bigger in the scene has brought a lot of people to bass. Because a lot of people know, like I remember when Grizztronics dropped for the first time, and like that was the first I had ever like heard of him at all. And now he's like so big, it's so crazy. Like I watched his little sets that he did during COVID. Which, by the way, I had some fun little trips on those sets. Like my friends and I, we'd put them up. We'd like, okay, guys, we're going to trip today. And then we'd put up his sets when we were like peaking. Oh my God. They were so cool. They were so cool. He really went off with that shit. So you answered your favorite artist basically. But outside of Odessa, who your favorite artist?
Excision. I really like Apache, Ganja White Knight. I'd have to dig through my Spotify. I've got a lot of people I like.
What genre is Apache? I haven't listened to them.
He classifies his music as majestic, which is like
I'm gonna have, you know what, good enough for me. I'm definitely gonna have to I've been trying to listen to a lot of new artists lately, so I'm gonna have to listen to Apache.
But I definitely would say like he definitely falls under, like, if I were to like classify it, it would be a mashup of dubstep and classical music. It's pretty dope. Like you think those are two very much polar opposite genres of music, but he mashes them up so well. It's like,
I mean, the song, I don't know who does this song, but it's called Ecstasy of Soul. That one gives me those kind of vibes where it's like classical music and it's just this girl like singing opera basically, and then it's like this super heavy drop, and I fucking love that shit. So I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. All right, so we have the last couple of questions, then we're gonna move on to our Narcan conversation. What is your favorite and least favorite part about being a content creator?
So my favorite is definitely meeting all of the people that make up my audience. Everyone is super nice and amazing whenever they point me out or like come up to me and to say hi. And for anyone watching though, if you're like a part of my audience and you are debating on whether or not you want to come say hi to me at a festival, please come up and say hi to me. Like a lot of people say that they missed saying hi to me because they were too nervous to, and they lost out on the opportunity. And I'm just like, just do it. I'll give you a hug.
Well, I hope anyone watching now can have that moment of, okay, if I see her at Base Canyon, because we're both going to be at Base Canyon. So if you see us, come say hi. We're going to have to pick a set to hang out at, because they actually have service at Base Canyon, unlike Lost Lands, when I thought, oh yeah, I'll message her when I'm in the venue.
Yeah, definitely.
Didn't work out, Chief. Going in, oh, all service gone. That I wasn't expecting that, because at Base Canyon you really do have service until at least 8 or 9 p.m. Like you can like still text people until almost midnight basically, but if you're trying to go on Instagram, that's just gonna cut off around 8.
Yeah.
All right. So what is the least favorite part about being a content creator?
Definitely like I see a lot of like people hate on content creators online, like specifically EDM content creators, and it's just like it costs $0 to let people be like do what they do. Like if it's cringe, okay, like sorry about it. Like
it's called scroll past it. I feel like people don't understand. People do not understand that concept, that if you don't like something, just scroll past it. Like maybe it's because however my brain works, but when I see content I don't like, especially on TikTok, all I do is scroll.
Or if you particularly don't even want to see it again on your feed, you just press the not interested button.
I don't even go that far. I don't even care enough.
Even worse, God forbid, the block button.
I just don't care enough to do either of those unless someone's like commenting some bullshit. I'm gonna block them. But like when it comes to like seeing some shit on my feed that is cringe or whatever, it's cringe for me. That means it's like it's in my opinion. And sometimes people need to learn that their opinion isn't always relevant or valid. I've never understood why people see that kind of stuff, and then they not only do they hate it so much, they're like, oh, this is so horrible, they proceed to like comment. Like the amount of energy I feel like it takes to do that when you could just like scroll. Like it doesn't. I will admit I don't like that either. I think so, at least in my opinion, I think some of the discourse with EDM content creators is that while their content is cringy, I think some of them, and we even talked about this a little bit, they cross that line and they go into endangering their following by posting.
Yeah, there's definitely there's a difference between the content creators that are making just like harmless, stupid, cringy shit versus the ones who are like actually making like content that is designed to like entice someone into being unsafe around substances.
Exactly. Like, and I unfortunately think that because of those creators, which they're like bigger creators too, so it's like a lot of people know them, they associate a lot of us with that, because like at least that's I have noticed. It hasn't been as bad lately, but I've seen the discourse you're talking about with like creators, and I've noticed that a lot of them say like one of the biggest things I've noticed is the ring lights in crowds. People really do not like that. So they think all of us do that. And I'm like, no, some of us don't.
Yeah, I think, definitely the ring light is a bit much, from a content creator perspective,
right?
But as a content creator, when I'm at a festival and I have to, meet my content obligation and I have to create that content, I bring around a small light box and I try not to be obnoxious with it, and I only try and use it. I only try and use it when I only need to, and I'm not trying to like flash it in other people's faces. It's just,
that's a good recommendation for the like. So that's good.
It's small, but it does the job. It brings a lot more light in a low light situation, but it's not like as powerful as a ring light, nor is it as annoying as a ring light.
And I know you're not going into the middle of the pit with it, which is that's where it bugs me. Like I can understand even the ring light, like I can even get it as a content creator. I'm like, okay, but go in like the back so you're not disrupting everybody. I've seen a couple of them like in a literal pit, and I'm like, it's already lacking space as is. And
there was a video that I had filmed with iHeart Raves when I went to EDC with them, and we were filming one shot like right outside of like, I want to say it was like the trance stage, the trance tent at EDC. I'm not sure which one it was, but we filmed in the back. We were using our lights and we were in the back and stuff like that.
I've seen
like deep at all.
And I've seen you guys, the iHeart Raves team, film at Base Canyon. You are always outside of the pit area. Like I've seen you guys literally filming content, and I've always seen you guys outside in the back. Yeah, like I've seen it. I've walked down the gorge and been like that. I think that's how I saw all of you. I actually saw you guys all last year doing it, and you were on the back of the pit, out of everyone's way. Like there's a complete difference of doing that, even if you're not the iHeart Raves filming team, right? And you're just some silly content creator. But it's that it's the disrespect of going in. Like, I don't know. That's what, like I said, it's in the pit that gets me. Like, that's where I'm like, I don't know. It's a little like almost disrespectful to the people around you.
Just, like, it's kind of, I can see it being annoying and stuff like that. And like, obviously you don't want to try and ruin other people's like time.
I don't even know if it would go as I don't even know if it would go so far as ruining it. I think it's just the space issue in the pit. Like the space is already so lacking, and you like I know that the amount of space it takes to create good content, it's like, I don't know. So I think that it's easy. Not, I don't want to say easy. It's if they look at your content, I know that that's not how they see you, and I hope that's not how they see me when people look at me as a content creator, because I don't know. I feel like it's easy to tell if someone's genuine from their content or if they're filming with ring lights in the crowd. Like you can kind of tell the difference. So now it's the more, I guess I don't want to say fun, but it's kind of the more fun personalized questions. I'm going to call it fun because I feel like more people need to know this information.
Definitely.
So if calling it fun is what gets them to hear it, then that I am here for it. So what is Narcan and what can it be used for?
So Narcan is actually a brand name for a medicine called naloxone, and naloxone is an opiate or opioid antagonist, which means that it binds to the receptors, to your opiate receptors in your brain, and it blocks any further effects from an opiate overdose. It reverses the effects of an opiate overdose. But it's important to note that even though it does reverse the effects of an overdose, it does it for a short period of time. So it's always important to go seek further medical treatment from professionals after receiving Narcan from an opiate overdose, because the person can easily go back into overdose.
I actually didn't know that. So I've been miseducated, to be honest. I actually thought that if I knew that you needed to seek medical attention, but I didn't know that you could go into overdose again if you don't seek that medical attention. I guess I thought it was for different reasons. I don't know, maybe silly me, but I didn't know that. I didn't know you could go into overdose again if you didn't get the proper help.
Yeah, basically just how the medicine works, how it binds to those receptors. The medicine will just wear off over time, and then the substance will still be in that person's system, and it will eventually be able to go affect the system again and cause the body to overdose. So it's always important just to seek further medical attention.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you said that the actual name is naloxone. So does that mean that when you're looking for this kind of stuff, should you be looking, because I've always heard it as Narcan. That's how I've always heard it. I've never heard it as naloxone. Or so is there other brand names for it? Or
yeah, there's tons of other names for it.
Okay.
I know there's one called Cloxado. I think that's how you say it, but there's a ton of other brand names for it. But if you want like the drug specifically, and like you don't really mind the brand, you just look up naloxone.
Okay. So for my speaking purposes, I'm still going to call it Narcan, because I feel like me saying naloxone as many times as asking these questions, it's going to trip me up, and I'm going to say it so weird. So I'll just call it Narcan, but just to clarify,
Right.
you can get it in different names, different brands, all that. So what does the date on Narcan mean?
It is basically the expiration date, and just because it has an expiration date doesn't mean that it is like you have to throw it out and you can't use it. There's research shown that when kept in average conditions, Narcan can be used up to like 20 years, 20, 30 years
awesome.
after manufacturing.
So that means that even if like it hits that date, it just means it kind of like loses its, not like ability, but it does not like, it doesn't hit the same, right? Like it's not going to be as effective as a brand new Narcan, correct?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. And also when responding to an overdose and when like administering naloxone to someone, sometimes one dose is not going to be enough to wake someone up. Yeah, sometimes you're going to have to use multiple doses to get someone up. And so
does that depend on the drug you're using, like the severity, like, or does it
I think all brands that make Narcan or not make naloxone, it's 4 milligrams, I think, is the dosage.
Okay, so let me see. Can you get Narcan at festivals or events?
At some, so not all, but at all Insomniac festivals. Thank Pascal for this one. He implemented that from now on at all Insomniac festivals there will be an end overdose tent. And
I do love that. I will admit.
End Overdose is a nonprofit that is working to help educate the community with harm reduction and bring education on and training on how to respond to overdoses, and as well as being able to dispense free or low cost Narcan to the general population. So they are doing amazing work, and at every single Insomniac festival there will be a tent dedicated to them where you can get free opiate or free overdose training, and also free Narcan after you complete your training. And to find this tent, all you have to do is just look up at the map that Insomniac releases before each festival is held, and there will be a little
I'm gonna have to check that out when I go to an Insomniac. Wait, I don't think is Base Canyons, is that Insomniac?
No, Base Canyon is
Base
Canyon, and it is run by Excision.
That's what I thought. I'm not gonna lie, I get some of the people who run it mixed up. Like I truly do.
Good.
I know a lot of people are like, they know what company runs things. I am not that. I have to like look into that. I want to go to Countdown this year, which I'm almost positive is Insomniac. I'm pretty sure, isn't it?
I think Countdown is Insomniac.
That's what I thought. Okay, because I'm planning on going to Countdown this year, so I'm definitely gonna have to check out that tent. I knew that End Overdose was a thing. I just didn't know like how deep it was. Actually, like, I didn't know it was a whole nonprofit. I actually just thought it was just this extra tent that Insomniac had. Like I had no idea it was a whole like extra nonprofit. So I'm gonna have to look more into that and do some more research into that so I can talk more about it on here in another episode. I just didn't know that.
They're pretty dope. They've got a website and everything, and they post on social media like TikTok. They post some pretty cool videos that are quite educational.
That I hope maybe that'd be cool to talk to them. That'd be cool. Like, because I'm trying to do the kind of same thing, but definitely I'm not as educated as them. So all of my tips and tricks are more just from a rave mom perspective, trying to help the people out. So it's not definitely what you would get from End Overdose, which is like actual educated and educators.
Yeah, see, like I would say the same thing for myself. Like I want to make like that full disclaimer that like I am not like a medical professional. Like I am not like anyone that like you should be seeking like the actual answers from. You should always
and I'm not either. I'm just here to, if you're gonna watch a podcast for the rave scene, I want to help just a little bit. And like just like spark the idea, the imagination to go out and educate yourself. Exactly. That has definitely been my intention with all of this. It's like I have made plenty of my own mistakes being a raver for 6 years. And I have fully said on this podcast some of the dumb shit that I have done, because if I can help save someone's life or prevent someone from doing the dumb shit that I did, that I am glad I made out alive, then I am glad to do it, because I'm not educated and I'm not like professional in this in any way, but I have some knowledge and I want to spark more people to gain knowledge on this. So, and like a lot of people will be learning just like I am. Like I didn't know some of the stuff you're telling me, and it's okay not to know as long as you are taking the time to educate and learn more. So why is carrying Narcan at events so important?
So even though you may not ever see yourself like needing to use the Narcan for yourself, or like you never see yourself being put in a position where you will have to use it on yourself, in this scene with such a prevalence of substances and like the chance of those substances being tampered with fentanyl, it is
why
very
we stand
important.
Testing around here.
Yes, we should always be testing, but sometimes people don't have access to those resources, and sometimes people will overdose at festivals, and
Yeah, and
it's,
I've said this on my a couple episodes on my podcast that sometimes even when you're being careful, you can still end up overdosing on accident. Like even if you're being careful with your Molly, being careful with your cocaine or your ketamine, and they're just, people are human and they're not perfect, and they, I don't know. I agree that just because you're not taking it yourself, like I don't partake in that kind of stuff, but I've always carried some with me just in case I am walking by someone who needs it, just in case someone maybe 2 tents down from me at camp there may need it, because not everyone is prepared. So if I can be prepared and help someone, even if I don't, like I haven't used the Narcan that I have, but I've kept it just in case. You never know.
yeah.
So
Because like as shitty, because unfortunately, I hate to say it, as like as shitty as it may be to like have some people like be really irresponsible and like having to place that responsibility on the people around them, like their well-being onto the making their well-being a responsibility of other people, like that's it's very aggravating, and it's obviously a very selfish thing to do, but at the end of the day, it's going to happen inevitably. There's going to be people like that, and it's important that we just keep them safe.
And I mean, if you think about it, that's literally what the basis of Plur is. If you combine, like, this episode isn't about one of the letters, obviously, but my last episode was about love. And if you are part of the race scene, you are saying that you are loving all these people around you. And what is the definition of love? Being able to help someone in need. And I think that, like, even if you don't know them, that's especially what I feel like the rave scene is about loving people that you don't even know, like, because you're just all there appreciating the scene for what it is. So I feel like if you're not there with the idea that maybe you might need to help someone, I don't know, like, that's how like, maybe that's just me and how all people are festivals, but I always have in the back of my mind that, like, somebody may need my help, because it is, as much as a lot of us don't like to talk about the substance use in scene, it is prevalent. It is a thing, like, we can sit here and deny it, or we can sit here and be like, yeah, people are taking Molly, people are doing ketamine, people are doing this, and here's how to help them. And here's how to help yourself if you are one of those people. Like, I just feel like denying it at this point and keeping it so taboo is just causing more deaths, and it's just causing more harm. It's
no, shame and stigma is not good for harm reduction, or it's not good like for people suffering with addiction, because if you think about it, with substance use, a lot of these people sometimes may be affected by addiction, and that is a real monster. And like, well, not monster, like,
kind of, yeah, a little bit.
It
kind of is.
It affects the person in such a way that it just, like, it ruins their life.
Oh, I have watched people that I've loved and know dear and, like, held dear and near to my heart, watch them be one person, and then they start doing ketamine or cocaine, and then 3-4 months later, I'm looking at a completely different person, and they're not. And it doesn't mean they're not a beautiful person. It doesn't mean I definitely still always have love for them, but it's hard watching that. And it's just because, I don't know, that's that's a conversation for, like, another thing.
Yeah, definitely.
But at the same time, I think it really does tie into what you said about how that is prevalent in the scene. Like, there are people who, and this isn't talking down them, this is just a reality. And I think if we talk about the reality, it takes away the stigma, it takes away the shame. Like, there are people who are addicted to these kind of substances and use raving as a way to get more fucked up and have an excuse to, like, take a bunch of substances and get fucked up, which doesn't mean they're a bad person, but it's a part of our scene. And if you aren't willing to be the person that is like, if that's going to happen, I want to help. If you're there and if you, like, are thinking to yourself when you're hearing this, well, I shouldn't have to carry Narcan because someone else is being stupid. Why are you in the rave scene?
Yeah,
like that is not the mindset you should have if you really do adhere to Plur and what raving is all about.
Yeah.
And you brought up harm reduction is perfect, because that was the next question I was going to ask. What is harm reduction and how does it pertain to festivals?
So we're gonna have to pull this definition straight from Wikipedia.
Yes, which is okay.
So harm reduction or harm minimalization and public health policies are designed to lessen the negative social and or physical consequences associated with various human behaviors, both legal and illegal, aka reducing the harm that comes with taking substances.
Yep. So why are harm reduction teams so important on festival grounds?
So obviously, like we said, there's a huge prevalence of substances in the scene. A lot of people in our scene take substances, no shame in that. But having harm reduction teams is important because shit can and will go down, and it's inevitable. And we need to be prepared for that. And we need to have people who are capable of handling shit that is associated with shit that can go down with associated with substances.
Because while it is nice for people like us who have the idea that we should be carrying extra stuff like naloxone and all this other stuff, we're not educated in the way that people on harm reduction teams are. Like, they genuinely know how to help you instead of just a random person that happens to have naloxone, you know?
Yeah. So like for like a harm reduction team that I can think of is the Insomniacs, fucking shit, what are they? I even work ground control. I work for them. Why am I blanking on that? Ground control. Anyways, those are Insomniacs, like harm reduction, like team people. They're roaming the festivals of all Insomniac festivals, and they're all wearing purple shirts with angel wings on the back. And if you are in need at all of any help, like related to anything, you can flag any of them down. And
they have those at Base Canyon too. I'm almost positive. Like,
so Excision has his own version called Headbanger Helpers.
There we go. I was about to say, I knew he had his own team for that because they were at Lost Lands and they had neon shirts at Lost Lands. And then I didn't remember if they were neon at Base Canyon too. Excision really, like, it'd be cool to see if he did like a nonprofit that was kind of like what Insomniac did. Cause I feel like just building, like I said, taking away the shame and the stigma and being like, and adding that extra little thing of like ending overdose and his version of it, that would be really cool. I feel like Excision, if you ever hear this, if you hear this at all, that'd be so cool. The first raves that I went to was in like in my local area, and I loved, and I still love that they had a harm reduction team. So I remember that the people, it was always like, cause I was like a silly little 19, 20-year-old who wanted to take all my little substances. And I remember knowing if I needed anything, or any, like, and my main thing was water. If I ever needed water, all I had to do was find my girl in her blue shirt and get myself a free water. So I didn't have to pay for it. But I also knew if I ever needed anything, all I had to do was flag them down. So if you do need help, they can get you the help that you need, whether it's emergency medical or whatever. Those are the people meant. If if you see someone in those kind of shirts compared to a med tent that's however far away, flag that person down instead. So before we kind of change a little bit the subject, what we're talking about, what are other things that you can carry that are helpful to someone who may be in need, whether it's back at camp or just what you're carrying around at a festival?
Definitely some smaller things that you can carry, because I know, like, if you're at a festival, you don't want to be lugging around a bunch of different things. So like, I understand like smaller things. So emergency foil blankets. Sometimes at night festivals, it can get cold and people don't come prepared with sweatshirts. And that's
idea. Oh my gosh, why did I never think of that? That's because I actually get really cold even with my hoodies and stuff, especially at Base Canyon. Like a couple years ago, not last year, it was hot as fuck last year, but the year before,
the weather last year.
But the year before, oh my gosh, it was
so
freezing.
Cold.
It was freezing. So I wish I had an emergency foil blanket. That shit would have saved my night. Like, it was becoming, I remember it was so cold and I didn't bring a hoodie because I was a dumb bitch who was staying at a hotel. I like a lot of my night suffered because it was so cold and I couldn't even focus on the music because I was sitting there with my pash and just like shivering. So
yeah, no, straight up.
So, and then you said, I'm reading because we kind of like wrote out to help ourselves stay on task. Emergency ponchos, that's a thing too. I didn't even know.
Yeah. So like they're like both the emergency foil blankets and the ponchos are like $1 a piece. You can get them at like Walmart or something like that in the camping section.
I'm definitely gonna have to do that for Base Canyon this year.
Yeah,
110%. Yes.
They come in so much handy. I only say emergency ponchos. I wouldn't use an emergency poncho, but I understand, someone else may be needing one. So that's an important thing to have. Test strips, like fentanyl test strips, is always a good thing. Those are just like in pre-sealed packages that you can just hand to people. And please do, if there's not already instructions written on the packaging of the test strip, have the test strip come with the set of instructions. That way the people that you're handing the test strip to aren't confused
that makes sense.
and fuck up their test.
All right. So my next question is about food at the festival, or my next couple of questions about food at the festivals. I feel like it's important to talk about this. Why? Let's start. Actually, I know I put this one last, but I'm actually going to ask it first. So how do you feel about the food prices at festivals? Do you think that it plays into the, I'm going to eat one little chicken tendy the entire weekend? That whole joke of not eating.
I feel like definitely, yeah. The festival, I can see the prices at a festival food make people reconsider maybe eating at the festival.
It definitely has for me.
Yeah,
I know. I personally have had that
swaying someone, or it's a hard decision. I for one have also been affected. I have made that decision. Okay,
I for one have been affected by festival food prices. Hashtag what? No, they're crazy. It's I know that the EDC, the ones that was going around, it was in this premiere area, but it was $100 for pizza. What? I know that was in a special sky area, but still.
Yeah, so that's EDC's Sky Deck, so that's bottle service. And as much as I fucking hate shit like that, because let's be honest here, eat the fucking rich, and I hate how gluttonous the rich like to be. EDC Sky Deck is so ridiculous, and bottle service is fucking ridiculous. It is expensive. It will always be expensive. Even the items themselves aren't that expensive if you were to get them in a store. It's the cost of also having it served to you at the festival, at your table with and you have minimums to meet. You have table minimums of things that you have to purchase in order to sit there. It's crazy.
So you have to be actually rich.
You have to be you have to be making comfortably 6-7 figures in order to sit at the Sky Deck.
I was about to say, I was if with you saying that having to buy a minimum, I feel the minimum's got to be 1,000 or some shit. There's got to be
the minimum's usually 10 to 15,000. It's way more. It's at this is when I say rich people shit, girl. This is
how do you know this? Wait, how do you know this? Have you seen it before? Or?
I'm a curious little soul. I will go on the internet and I will look up things,
that
and I will
sense.
There was also a video too. I don't know how much traction it got, but it was Ultra's bottle service menu got leaked, or receipts from EDC, or it was both Ultra's bottle service menu got taken. There was a picture taken of it, and that was posted over social media. And then there was also pictures of receipts from EDC Las Vegas bottle service from the Sky Deck, and those receipts were $200,000, $300,000 worth of drinks.
Oh, these people gotta be millionaires. They gotta be that makes sense of why they don't care about $100 pizza. They don't. That's insane. I actually didn't know that. I thought this when I was seeing videos like that, I thought it was couple $1,000 minimums you're having to spend and stuff, but that's insane. I don't even know I don't know about you, but that doesn't even seem fun to me, to be spending that much money at a festival when I could be experiencing it for a lot less in a much more authentic way.
Yeah, definitely. Like with like the
No.
position too of like sky deck, it's like on the outskirts. Like
That's what I was about to say. I looked at where the sky deck was, by the way. That's what I was about to say. I was like, you're kind of far from a lot of the like the stages and stuff when I saw it. So I was like, what are you? You there to eat?
well, like the people who are on sky deck are more concerned with buying like tons of bottles of champagne that they don't even plan on drinking just to spray it all over the crowd below them, the unsuspecting crowd
Insane.
below them. And yeah, like it's just
Eat the rich. No, though, seriously, like that's
for
I know
real, dude.
no, I feel that so hard. There is certain like I understand like the idea of being rich in the sense of you have enough to where you don't have to worry about money. Like I would love to be just comfy enough with financially where like I can just go to festivals and not, like I say, break my bank over some festival payments. I can buy the ticket and just be good to go. Buy my night, like maybe you know what? Maybe go out on some like glamping. You know, it's
Yeah.
but then like that's it. Like I wouldn't buy bottle service. I would just get the necessities that were nice.
No, listen. I just thought of it. The ultimate, like, no, you've made it in the festival scene. Like, no, you've made it like financially, like festival wise. You can buy your festival ticket and camping and your flight all at once without even have to think twice about it.
Yes, and you don't even have to check your bank account.
No, you don't have to sit there and be anxious about it too.
All you gotta do, like, because I guarantee these how they work, right? If I was in that mindset, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna buy it on my credit card, but so I can get cash back for it. But all I gotta do is just move the money over, and like I don't even have to worry that it's gonna be there. Like like that would be nice. You know what? Let's manifest 10 years from now. Let's go. So let's move on to what are the best foods at festivals? That since even though they are more fancy. What are your favorites?
Okay, so I will say I am a bit of a picky eater, so take my opinions with a grain of salt, y'all, please. I personally think island noodles are fucking delicious. They are one of my favorite things to get at a festival.
My friend loved them when she had them.
What?
My friend loved them when she had them, by the way. Like she got them and she loved them. I thought about getting them, but no, it's too broke. Like I literally the only thing I got at Lost Lands last year was a frozen lemonade because it was like $9 and I was like, I could expend that. But like I was in a hotel, so like right before the festival, I was eating a meal, and then right when I got back, I was eating a meal. So if you're not going to eat the festival, make sure you're eating before and after, okay? You're not straight starving yourself. Like that's what's important. If you're not going to eat the festival, make sure you're eating at camp and you are like, you know, sustaining yourself in some way.
Yeah, bringing food with you.
Yeah.
Like obviously, like if you're watching this podcast now to like figure out if you should like figure out tips and tricks on how to survive at a festival without if you didn't bring any food with you, like this is not gonna help you. Like you definitely need to bring food with you beforehand.
Oh, yes. You should always bring lots of snacks and lots of things that are like snack but like meals, so like protein bars and stuff.
Yeah, and that way you can actually guarantee that you'll fucking like the food that you're eating.
So I can't even answer that question too, because I've only had like 2 foods because I have not had the financial means to like buy food at a festival. However, my friend bought one of the giant margaritas at Base Canyon. That was fucking bomb. And
no, that's just really good. Those are good.
So if that's my recommendation. If you're going to Base Canyon, that giant like margarita frozen thing, it is dangerous because it tastes so good. All right. So are you a VIP or a GA person? Does it matter to you?
I would want to be a VIP person, but my wallet says nope.
See, mine says no to me too, but I still do it because I need the bathrooms. I can't do the porta potties. It is a sense because I'm autistic and it's a sensory thing for me. It actually has affected me really heavily having to go in the porta potties, especially if like it's nighttime. It's at nighttime that really gets me. Like I'll have basically a panic attack in the porta potty, but I need to find the VIP bathrooms at Base Canyon because I couldn't find them last year and I just had to suffer in the porta potties last year.
Yeah, they're a bit hard to find. But
Lost Lands, they were easy to find.
What?
Lost Lands, they were easy to find. I was able to find that VIP section. So that's why like I know I'm a VIP person because I use the VIP bathrooms at Lost Lands. Oh, they're so nice. They were air conditioned.
Oh, love that.
So that's why like no, I told all my friends, say what you want, but I am VIP purely for the bathrooms. It is purely for bathroom purposes.
I don't really care too much about the bathroom situation. So like I guess that's like a factor in my answer, like where I'm like, I don't really mind whether or not I'm GA or VIP. Like some festivals, the perks for having VIP definitely are worth the price that you pay. But there are some festivals, I want to say like Base Canyon, where if you like the VIP is not worth the money.
I might, I'm kind of thinking for next year, I might just do GA just because if I can't find the VIP bathrooms this year, GA 100%. Like the perks are not worth the extra stuff. For Lost Lands, definitely that VIP whole extra section, like that was really cool, and I'm really glad I did VIP for Lost Lands. But this year, if I can't find them fucking bathrooms, I'm doing GA and saving the $100. So what are the differences of camping? So there's a bunch of different ones. I know for most it's like gold and GA, and then Base Canyon has Premier. But what is the differences for camping for newer ravers who are watching and they're like, what do I do for camping? What's the difference?
So GA is obviously going to be your cheapest and most readily available option. So
also
like
the farthest
if
and the
all other
loudest
options of camping are sold out, usually GA is still going to be, available to you for purchase. But like the only downside with, there's multiple downsides with GA. Who am I fucking kidding?
That's why I was like, it's the farthest and the loudest. That's what I always say.
Usually furthest from the venue. So like if you're at a, if it's a bit of a walk, and also it's loud at all hours of the day. There are people at different
at night. It's really loud too. I mean, at all it's loud, but in GA it's like really loud.
Yeah, they like to have parties, and like in Gold and Premier they have strict quiet hours, but GA it's just kind of like free for all. So that's why we call it District 9. It's just like,
really? I actually haven't heard that.
Yeah, we just call it District 9.
I love that. I didn't even know that was an actual term, by the way. I feel like kind of like, wow, I didn't know that. I love the Hunger Games. So I'm sitting here just like, I'm like, know what? That's actually so fair. Because I walked during Base Canyon last year during the day. I remember walking through the camping and I was like, wow, this like just the vibes are just different. I don't know how to explain it, but it's definitely different because I was in Premier. I like Premier Base Canyon because it's right next to the shuttles. And
definitely the shuttles. The shuttles are so convenient because like the Premier is like the best of both worlds because Gold is like right next to the gates, but it's
that's
like
what I'm getting this
away
year
from like the central like campground area, which is where like a lot of the action outside of the festival happens. So like Premier is like a good like middle ground because not only are you close to the action of the campgrounds, you have a shuttle bus to take you to the front of the gates. That way you don't have to walk as much.
Yeah, I liked Premier last year. I'm doing Gold this year, so I'll tell I don't know if what you're doing, but I'll let you know how I feel about Gold considering I was at Premier last year.
Yeah, I always do Premier. I try like for any festival that I do at the Gorge, I will try and do Premier camping.
I know that our RV camping happens most in Gold, by the way. That's in Gold. Premier is more like I found because when I was there last year, it was very chill. Like I feel like I had a friend who was in Gold camping and he said, I don't know if this is like everywhere with Gold, but what I was told about Gold and from a couple other people is that people keep to themselves. Like they don't really talk to the camps around them. And then like you'll hear like some people will, but they're a lot more closed off. So I don't know what that is.
Like, it's not as rowdy as you would GA, but like the neighbors that I have had in Premier have all been amazing people.
Oh yeah,
and,
the
like,
ones I had, I love them.
We've been super close with.
Yeah, the ones I had last year, I'm still friends with them. But I'm hoping that in Gold it's the same. So it's kind of just one of those things where I chose Gold because I wanted to be able to hide at night, hide and be incognito, whatever you want to call it. I want to be able to not like get recognized because my hair. it's very bright and it's UV reactive. So I want to be able to go back to camp and like be able to like put something on so I can kind of change my outfit and hide a little bit more. And then the people I'm going with wanted gold as well. But I'll let you know. I'll let you know what's better, because I really liked Premiere last year. Like, they are the kind of the ones that chose it. I liked Premiere. I liked the shuttles. I liked meeting people on shuttles. I've met some of my closest friends on a shuttle to Lost Lands. So, all right. So,
okay, I figured out. I remembered what I wanted to say.
Right before I was gonna ask another question too. Perfect.
Okay, so Maniac does this because we just did it for Beyond, but a few weeks ago we were checking the site because we were interested in buying camping, and we were interested in getting Premiere camping, but Premiere had been sold out since like 30 seconds since the tickets were fucking dropped.
Premiere goes pretty fast.
Yeah, it goes pretty quick, and so we weren't expecting to see any availability for tickets at all. But I'm camping with Blaze for Premiere or for Beyond. Ooh. So Blaze was looking on the site, and they were like, "Wait a minute! Like, it says that there's tickets available. It says I can buy one," and I'm like, "Well, if you can buy one, fucking yoink one, dude!" Like, and so
that's awesome.
Apparently it's because a bunch of tickets that people buy out on payment plans, they get defaulted. So like their payment plans all like fail out. They don't pay their payment plan.
Yep. And the tickets come available.
Yeah, the tickets become available. But the crazy part was we didn't know that this was happening at that exact time. We had just happened to open that site and check right at that right moment.
That's
when
awesome.
The tickets were dropped, and we were able to get a Premiere camping spot for Beyond this year.
I love that. Blaze is on my list of creators that I have in my noggin of after the 8 episode release of like who I want to ask. I have Blaze, and then Chase, Mr. Twink Bussy Chase over there. I definitely want him on this podcast. Like, no, both of them are like on the top of my list, and then Sunflower Raver after that. So it's like I have my people who like I'm gonna reach out to after it's released, because like I'm friends with all the people I have so far. I'm friends with, like, who I'm close with, and it's like you guys know me, so it's a little bit like, you guys know it's not being aired yet, but like it's coming in July. A little bit of a trigger warning, I guess, before we talk about this subject, just because for anybody watching who was at Okeechobee, we're not talking about what happened, but we are going to kind of touch on the problems around what kind of happened, just to keep the privacy of the person. But I did want to touch on just kind of like not what, you know what I mean? Like not what happened, but just what could have been prevented, said event. So how do you feel about the ability to swim at events?
As long as there's proper water safety precautions being taken into consideration, I don't see a problem. I love swimming. It's an amazing thing.
I want to swim at an event one day. I haven't gotten to. I really want to. Paradise Blue is calling my name with that all-inclusive resort.
Girl, you need to get onto that.
That's my bucket list. So, that's on mine. Like, that is like the top. I want to go to Paradise Blue, all inclusive drinks, food, and getting to be in the water. And I know they got proper care for that and everything. So like, that's definitely like, I agree with it too.
They had lifeguards on the beach at all times, pretty much, even at night.
Yes.
So
at night, which is really important.
Yeah.
Just in general, lifeguards in general. Lifeguards in general.
Definitely.
So if you are going to have water at an event and not put lifeguards, I got problems with you. I got some problems. I got words, because how are you gonna have a whole ass water area and not have lifeguards? Like, did we not all grow up on like public pools and knowing that there are like hired lifeguards at said public pools, because people, literally children or adults, and there's not even like alcohol there. Remember, public pools don't have bars and stuff. Like, that's not a thing. They got ice cream cones and they have lifeguards. Like, and there's usually 3 or 4. So it's like,
and you'd think with like people who are intoxicated or using substances or just like under the influence, like the likelihood of drowning on like with the under the use is like so much higher than being sober.
Exactly.
And like, why aren't there fucking
like we're not like I know that we're like kind of laughing about it, but it's just more like it's baffling to me. Like it's actually like, so my sister grew up doing swim and water polo, so maybe it's just because I know like when it comes to water, but like when I heard that there wasn't lifeguards, like my heart just sank. I was like, how can you have water and no lifeguards? Like I said, the first thing that came to mind was public pools, and there's not even any intoxication there, and they have lifeguards. So how I guess this, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, because it's kind of a more touchier question, but how do you feel that rave corporations should handle deaths? If someone dies at their festival, how should they handle it?
So like I kind of have like an insider viewpoint with like working with some like bigger like companies. So like I understand when things like that take place or things like that happen, there is like a sort of a legal process that these big companies have to follow. And unfortunately, like that means like, you know, we may not get like the like the serious acknowledgement that we want, but like I know for a fact that a company can at least expend a small statement, like without going into too much detail about explaining and like acknowledging about what happened. And like that's, I feel like, is the least that a company could do regarding things like that taking place at a festival.
I guess I didn't think about that, the legal standpoint of it, but I even with that though, I guess I don't know, I feel like even with the legality of it, there's things that you could say, like just like what you said, like a small statement that doesn't release too much, where it's at least acknowledging what happened. Like, oh, I just knocked my mic. So I don't want to like go too deep in this, because I just feel like I want to be as respectful as possible to the person who did lose their life at Okeechobee, and I don't want to like I want to be as respectful as possible, but I also truly do want to bring awareness so this doesn't happen again. Like I don't want to just not talk about it because I want to be respectful. I want to talk about it in a respectful manner. That way this doesn't happen again, because like I said, the fact that there weren't lifeguards never should have happened. I don't know. I
just like at least someone guarding the water at night, you know, and especially like I just like in general, like
they should have blocked. I know that they said they blocked it off, but at the same time, there weren't people watching, and there are people on things. So people aren't going to listen to that kind of stuff. Like there's just, I feel like things that they should have prepped for that they didn't. And I know that you like talked about this, but the water was not safe to like swim in.
It was like, so
I wasn't there. I didn't see the water. And I tried looking up pictures, by the way, and you can't see it. Like I don't think you, from what you described it to me, I want to describe it to people too. Like the lake there it's not even a lake. It's a water runoff as far as I'm aware.
Yeah. So it's called a retention pond, and it is literally like the filthiest fucking thing ever. Literally, anytime we had crossed the bridge to get from camping to the actual main part of the festival, we had to go over the body of water that incident happened in, and that water was literally like brown, and like you couldn't see more than a few inches, like more than 6 inches deep. You couldn't see the bottom. It was so filthy.
Oh my gosh,
and like I can't imagine like how like thick
the bottom is. I don't even want to know what stepping in that shit was like. I hope people wear shoes. Like the fact that they let people swim in that, and then you know, if they're going to do it because they wanted to have their money or whatever, or to have people want to be able to do that, I get it. But then it's the lifeguards. They should have had lifeguards. And I'm like really glad to hear that Paradise Blue has like constant lifeguards, like even at night. Like,
well, it wasn't just like the festival itself. It was just like the beach in general, because it's like a beach that's like there like 24/7. So like there's been
exactly. So they're like, oh, this is water. People can drown even when they're not on anything. Like that's what gets me, is that a lot of people talking about this situation were saying, well, if he was on something, who cares? For one,
who cares?
Yeah. Let's just push that out of the way. I, like someone who does not partake in anything, could drown. If it's like, it doesn't matter. Like you could be sober or not sober. And if you are in a pond that is a retention pond, and from what we were just saying, how we don't want to be stepping in that. If you stepped in, like, let's say it's nighttime and you stepped in the wrong section of it and no one was around, like, there's just so many things that could happen. And I feel like this was 100% preventable if they had the proper precautions in place. And I just really wanted to talk about it in a respectful manner, so just it doesn't happen again. Like, like, seeing the way it affected like the rave scene, it just, and what got me above anything else, this is why I brought up the company thing, is that people who love this person found out on Reddit. They found out on Reddit. Like,
that's fucked up.
That's why I asked that question about the company, is that they found out about it on Reddit, and that should not have been how they found out about it. Like, no, that there's so many issues, and I just want to kind of touch on it, not go too deep into it, but I think it was important to touch on it. So, switching conversations now. So what about artists? Do you think that artists, like who the artist is, has a difference on the crowd vibes? Because I do. I really think that you'll get a different crowd with people listening to like Sudden Death or Sullivan King compared to Subtronics.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna be that person, but like literally anyone that I've ever met that listens to Bass Nectar or Datsik has always been a huge fucking piece of shit. I'm not even sorry about it.
No,
you can be mad about that statement.
No, I agree. Like, no, literally.
no, not you, but like people like.
I'm just gonna say to people who are questioning that statement, are mad. Why are you mad? Just saying. Why are you mad? Should you be mad? Because these people have literally been excommunicated from the scene for sexual assault. And this is not just allegations, by the way. I'm not going to say allegations because this shit ain't allegations. It's true, been proven, and there's a reason why. So whenever people like have issues with those kind of statements, I'm like, why are you mad? You should probably think about that, and maybe your morals along with it. So do you think there are any locations that people, or like, I guess if you could say artists, because we're talking about artists, do you think there are any locations or artists, people who are newer into the rave scene and kind of like should be wary about, if they haven't been into that before?
No, I think it's just like a matter of like, having someone explore on their own in their rave scene and stuff like that, and figuring out what they like and what they don't like. I'm not going to try and
that's true.
I don't want to like try and express an opinion that will like make you think that like otherwise.
No, I would say that like if you're with that being said, like it's something that you kind of have to walk around and get a vibe for yourself. Like for me personally, Sudden Death's crowd, not for me. I love his sets though. Like it's just the crowd. They're very mosh pitty. So if if you are looking to mosh and be bumped into and really get that like kind of experience, then that is for you. But if you're like me and you're really sensory oriented and being touched all that much is not for you, then you want to stay in the back during a Sudden Death set. That's not a bad thing. It just means, it's crowd expectations. I think that like for what was I gonna say? For when I've seen what is the genre, it's like what Taboo is that what genre is Taboo? Like the crowd you're gonna get at Taboo is gonna be so different than what you're gonna get at a Sudden Death set. Just like the way people are acting, the way people even are listening to music, because it's different genres. I don't know, is he trap? I don't think he's trap. If you know who Taboo is, then you like, it's a mix of like, I feel like it's kind of like trappy, but also kind of like weird bassy. Taboo is just kind of his own, like his set last year was really fucking good. I loved his set last year.
Yeah, he's fun to watch live.
My point is like the vibes you're gonna get at his set, where he's like putting on the screen like pictures of like funny pictures of him, basically, is gonna be different than where you're gonna get at like a Sudden Death set. Just because they're different music's different things. So I think walking around and just figuring out what you like is the only way to figure out what is for you. And like I've asked like in the past my other creators, what their like favorite EDM genre is and least favorite. It never is a bad thing to not like something. It's how you express the dislike. So if you're going to sit there and hate on, like, I would never sit here and be like, oh, because these people, I hate this. No, it's that the vibe is just not for me. It's just not for me. It's a little too touchy down in the pit for me,
Yeah.
It's just what it is. It's just my personal it is never wrong to express your opinion. If it's in this kind of case, I mean, obviously, certain cases not, but in this, it's like, as long as you're expressing it in a way that's not, you're not trying to demean on someone else, I feel like it's perfectly fine to say that this set isn't for me. This artist isn't for me, because there's plenty of other artists. And as long as you're just, be kind about it, that's what matters. So, in terms, I wanted to talk ask more questions about fentanyl, but I couldn't really come up with some good questions. I feel like, because it's just kind of laced into the testing your stuff, and which I've talked about on a lot of my other episodes. So I wanted to talk to you about it, though. A couple questions, why do you think fentanyl has become such a prevalent issue when it comes to the rape scene? Do you think it's outside of testing, or what are your kind of statement on it?
I mean, it's definitely it's a powerful substance that unfortunately has taken the lives of a lot of people.
Here's a good question. Why? Sorry, let me finish. Let me let you finish first.
No, you're good. Here, I'm oh yeah, here. Okay, it's
it's okay.
So overdosing, or specifically just accidental overdose, which is what fentanyl overdose would be put under, is actually considered one of the leading causes of death for young adults in the United States.
It's the between 18 and 25 right now, right? It is the leading cause. I'm almost positive from 18 to 25.
Yeah.
It is the number one cause of death. Yes. That's why I want to talk about it, because I'm it's prevalent. It's it tests your stuff.
You hear a lot about it in social, you hear about it in the news, you hear about it in social media, you hear so much about it. There's
fentanyl is the reason Demi Lovato had their overdose.
Really? I did not know.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with Demi Lovato. My cat's named after Demi. So that documentary, I ate that shit up. I was because also here's the crazy thing. Ready? Demi Lovato overdosed on my birthday. Until 2018. Isn't that insane? July 24th, my birthday. On my birthday. So all of my friends texted me in the morning saying hey, happy birthday. By the way, Demi Lovato.
Oh
yeah.
My God,
so it was basically. Yeah. So basically what happened, and this is, I said, this is a prevalent situation, by the way. This is not just with Demi Lovato, unfortunately. Her dealer got her really fucked up on fentanyl and then literally left them for dead. And her assist, they go by they, them, and he, she, her pronouns. So that's why I'll probably bounce back between them. But, yeah. So the documentary, the assistant said that, she walked up and just found her literally lying face up. And if they didn't get help, that Demi would be dead. So I feel that is unfortunately a lot of the case. If you don't test your stuff, that's, I said, there's not much I can really talk about when it comes to fentanyl, because it all just goes back unless you have a different issue, which is you're taking fentanyl, actually, because how do you, I don't know much about fentanyl, but I know that you can smoke it or whatever. And I know that some people do that. But
actually, you can't.
You can't
smoke it.
Well, see, that's how little educated I am.
Yeah,
trying to learn more here.
And that's also it ties into some of the misinformation that comes out about fentanyl. About
please let's correct that information.
There's fentanyl being found in weed, and people are overdosing from smoking marijuana that's been laced with fentanyl, and unfortunately that's not possible because of how hot the temperatures are. It basically incinerates the fentanyl. It makes it.
I didn't know that.
See, this is. Hold on, wait. Let me go on to Google and let me double check that.
I wouldn't. So unfortunately, when it comes to fentanyl, I am lacking education. And it's one of the reasons why I also didn't bring it up as much, because I only want to talk about stuff that I am educated on and I'm knowledgeable about, or the people I'm talking to are knowledgeable about. So when it came to fentanyl, I was what can we do outside of just telling people to test your stuff?
Medical wise, because fentanyl does have a use in hospitals and stuff like that.
Yes, I do know that.
It's usually in
that's injected, right?
Yeah, it's usually an injectable solution. It's mixed into an IV bag or a transdermal patch.
Yeah. So that there is medical uses for fentanyl. I'm gonna
Yes.
include this in the podcast. I really want people to know, like, there is like an actual use for
Yes.
fentanyl, but it's not what people are using it for, or and a lot of times what I don't feel like people really understand is that all of that is dosed, especially with the fentanyl and medical usage, because it is put in IVs. It is incredibly accurate
That
in
is
what the
highly
dosage.
controlled.
Do you think people testing their drugs more would help the problem with fentanyl, or do you think it goes deeper than that?
Way deeper.
That's
Like
what I
we'd
figured.
be
Yeah.
we'd be sitting here for like hours talking about like the war on drugs and shit like that. Like this problem goes back decades. It is rooted so deeply into this country. Like
Yeah.
it's like
I'm
it
gonna have
goes
to like
way
look more into
beyond
that.
fentanyl too. Like this is like an issue of like substances as a whole.
Oh no, literally. So with that being said, what can we as content creators do to help the opioid epidemic right now, especially when it comes to being faces in the rave scene?
Definitely, educating ourselves, and that definitely includes myself, like I'm not
Everyone could
like
educate themselves more. I feel
Yes.
like if you're sitting there thinking, oh, this is all I need to know, then that's not when it comes to this kind of stuff. When it comes to substances, you could always learn more and you could always know more, so you could help, not like this, whether it's to help someone out or just to have knowledge in general. Because now, like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna do like my own little deep dive on the on fentanyl and how like it because you were saying that it like goes really deep into like our country and stuff. So I'm like, oh, I feel like there's got to be a podcast or a YouTube documentary on that.
Oh girl, there's tons.
So my last question, what do you think is the biggest information out there currently about fentanyl?
Oh god, there's actually tons of misinformation out there about
So
fentanyl.
give me some.
That's pretty big. So like there's one, and this is the most dangerous because it can actually cost lives. So it's the belief that you can overdose by touching someone who has overdosed on fentanyl, because like apparently you can absorb fentanyl through your skin. That is complete and utter fucking bullshit. You cannot overdose by touching someone who is overdosing. And so unfortunately that myth and that urban legend has like has made first responders hesitant to help people who are in overdose, and so that can actually cost them their life if they are hesitant to provide them the proper help and stuff like that.
I didn't even know that was misinformation that was out there. Like, people genuinely think that.
Yeah.
I guess I've just been properly educated, but like I didn't even know that was a myth.
Yeah,
that was out there. Like, that's insane.
It's a big and scary one that's out there, and it's very prevalent, and it's one that needs to be combated by just letting people know that you can't overdose. You cannot overdose from touching someone who has overdosed.
Yeah, and that's with all drugs.
You can't overdose from touching fentanyl either. If you just held fentanyl in the palm of your hand, like a little pile of fentanyl, and you touched it and you were rubbing it around in there, you can't overdose from it because you can't absorb fentanyl through your skin like that.
Yeah, I feel like there are, since we're on that topic, just real quick, what does that so I know that the one that I've heard, and maybe you'll know if this is a myth or not, but can you start tripping from someone if like you touch someone who's tripping? See, that's what I've always thought, but people have told me differently, and I've never I don't want to tell people no, that's not true, but like I feel like that's not true. Like, just that you can't get high from my sweat. Like, what? That doesn't make the sense, but okay. Like, yeah. So I guess I feel like that misinformation really goes pretty deep, because if that's like with other drugs, that makes me so sad that first responders are hesitant to help people because they think that they'll like get high from it. That makes no sense to me, because that's not even how drugs work, and especially how a lot of them metabolize in your system. Like, the way you get high and the way the drug breaks down in you, like, you can't get high from touch. Like, I feel like a lot of anyways, Oh,
Yeah.
well, with that
No,
being, oh, what?
wait, so another giant piece of misinformation that's out there about
Mhm.
fentanyl is that there during Halloween, I don't know if you've heard, but it's like in kids candy and stuff like that that people are handing out to kids
It's
and
not
stuff
just
like that.
fentanyl. It's everything. Like literally, people say it's ecstasy. It's always a new one every year when it
It's
pops up on my Facebook. It's always, oh, they're doing it's like little Teslas, and I'm like, let's be so fucking real
let's
for
be
a
so
second.
fucking for
Ain't
real right here.
no
No one's gonna
one.
give their drugs for free to people. Stop it
Yeah,
right now.
literally. Like what? That is what gets when I was a kid, it like made sense to me. But now I'm like, who in their right mind is
Yeah,
going
that's
to give
like
away their drugs for free? That makes no sense.
in this economy, girl. No.
Literally is in this economy, ain't nobody going to be spending especially the amount that like people would spend on like Molly and like I don't know, like if you think about what they would have to spend to be doing that, that's just so insane. No, ain't nobody gonna be doing that. And
Yeah.
I unfortunately feel like, and this goes back to what we were saying earlier, is that a lot of this stuff really just comes back to people have a lot of shame in substances and they want to talk about them. And I feel like if we were a little more open with this kind of stuff, it would take a, I don't know if it would help as much, but I feel like there's so much shame in talking about substances and taking substances when it's like we all fucking do it. Like I think one of the biggest things I learned as an adult is at least 75% of the adults I've met have done coke and actively do it. That was my
No,
biggest like
definitely becoming an adult, like realizing how many people in my life did coke was like a shocking statistic.
So it's just like, it's because it's so stigmatized. It's so like, if you don't talk about it, people get misinformation. They say that you can get high from touching them because there's this whole shame and stigma even talking about drugs. So if we talk about it, we have an ability to fight that misinformation and put out correct information and make it so people don't, if they're going to do this stuff, like this is how you do, like that's my first episode. It's like, if you're gonna be doing cocaine, at least please take care of yourself, drink water, like don't overdo it. You don't need to get mega fucked up, but you don't have to do like, I really want people to know that there's no shame in doing this kind of stuff. It's how you do it. It's
Yeah.
if you're doing it with the intention to get supremely fucked up and just have no existence, then you're not only putting your life in danger, but you're putting the people around you in danger too, because they're the ones who are watching over you,
But then like, yeah, and then that comes in like, then comes in the conversation of like that person is gonna need like extensive professional help and stuff like that. And they're just like gonna need support. Like, as much as like it sucks, to see like someone make those poor choices for themselves, and like fall down that hill. It, and as much as it sucks to be, like if you want to be, obviously, if you don't want to put yourself in that position, you are absolutely more than allowed, like to not, be a crutch to help support that person through a struggling time. But if you're willing to be that kind of support system for that person, like that is like a really amazing thing that you as a friend can do for someone.
Yeah.
But obviously at the end of the day, choose yourself. And if you don't feel entirely comfortable with helping out someone in their substance stuff, and like, and if they're not willing to receive the help too,
That's
like
also important.
that's a big conversation too.
Yeah, not everyone wants help, unfortunately. And it's all case by case basis because each person is different and each person we're dealing with in terms of addiction and what they're dealing with is different. Some people unfortunately only harm themselves when they're in the phase of addiction, while other people hurt all the people around them. It's really just person by person. And if you are that outside friend, it's choose yourself, and choose what's good for you and your life. And if you are going to be that person who is going to be there for them, make sure you're prepared to help them. If going forward, like let's say you are that friend, right, who is okay with this and you're like, what, I'm going to be that person to support my friend who's in the middle of addiction. If you're going to be that person, be prepared. Like if you know that they are in the throes of addiction and you're going to a festival with them and they're about to do some do some shit.
Well, you need to help, be willing to be responsible for them, because they may not be willing to make responsible choices for themselves, because addiction, fucking does shit like that.
It is a monster. It is a monster. When you said that, I was like, now that's a perfect description for what addiction is. A monster that comes in so many different shapes, sizes, and faces, and can affect every person completely differently. So if you're going to be the friend who's going with someone to a festival or a rave, and they're kind of in that throes of addiction, make sure, I guess you don't have to make sure, but like my biggest suggestion to you is, if you've chosen to be that friend who's going to be there for them, don't be an enabler. Make sure you are someone who is there to help them and protect them. Not someone who's
it'll be hard to put your foot down and make those decisions and have to say no. But when you're like, when you're faced with things like that, you definitely are going to have to stand up and say something and make sure the well-being of your friend is.
Be willing to say no. If you see your friend has taken 5 spoonfuls of ketamine and they're about to take their 6, look at them and be like, are you sure? Like, you are allowed to do that. If you truly love and care about your friends, you can put your foot down on stuff like that and be like, hey, I've watched you do this. Should you really be doing that? It's okay to be concerned about your friends, especially when it comes to substances that can end people's lives, and that that really can. And even if it doesn't end your life, unfortunately, when it comes to substances, the way it affects your brain, and it can affect you in 100,000 different other ways. So I loved this conversation that we had about this kind of stuff, because I really do just want people who are watching this, if they felt any shame about taking substances, don't. Because if you're going to do it safely. Do it in a way that protects yourself, protects the people around you. I think the biggest term I've come to really love in this podcast is mindfulness. Is be mindful of yourself, of your body, about what's going on around you. Just be mindful in general and take care of yourself. 110%, always be taking care of yourself. So is there any last things you want to say before we end this?
I as long as, I think the only things that I have to say is just test your shit, stay hydrated, and
take care of your friends, take care of yourself.
Take care of your friends, take care of yourself, be kind.
Be kind. Like I feel like that is the biggest thing in the rave scene, is just be kind. Be fucking kind. If there's anything this world needs more of, it's a little more kindness at the end of the day. I really do believe that with my full chest, is that if world just had a little bit more kindness, that I think a lot of things would be a lot different. So, all right. Well, thank you for coming on and being my 4th episode, and we will see you guys online.